Somebody's coming.
Halloween is easily my favorite holiday. I mean, as a 90s kid, it wasn't afraid to actually get a little spooky. And as a Disney kid, well, we were swimming in content. Under wraps, don't look under the bed, mom's got a date with a vampire, and of course, Halloweentown. Halloweentown unlocked something inside me. I needed to be there. Halloween 24/7, count me in. And they kept making them knowing I would come back. Until, yeah, we'll get to that. But let's reminisce about one of the best holiday-themed movie series us 90s kids can't seem to get enough of. A kids movie starting like this? I am already freaked out. The first Halloweentown movie really is something to behold. It's the first time we are ever whisked away to this world. First time seeing that giant pumpkin. First time seeing a ghost sweat. And first time seeing whatever creature this is. And while I might have had a little crush on Marnie back in the day, I think what made this movie in particular a success was the performance of Debbie Reynolds, who plays the kid's grandma, Agatha Cromwell. She adds so much whimsy and heart to this movie, acting like a cool grandma who truly cares about her grandkids, who can also say some pretty sick spells. But we do have to talk about the fact that she seems to be the only person that notices or cares about what is happening in Halloweentown. As a refresher, people are changing into more feral creatures and eventually disappearing altogether. Though we later find out that they are kind of being frozen in time in an abandoned movie theater. But like, no missing person report, no other magic detectives on the case. In fact, what do the cops even do in this world? But yeah, Aggie, I mean, maybe she tells the other residents, but they just don't speak the same language. Or maybe they also thought she was crazy, like Kalabar. Which does bring me to Kalabar. He is a warlock, a scarecrow? Either way, his scarecrow shadow figure is absolutely terrifying, but we'll get to what might actually be the most terrifying creature in this series in a little bit. We also learn that Gwen, Marnie's mom, used to date Kalabar back in the day, which I do think adds more questions than answers. Like, how long did Gwen live in Halloweentown? When did she date Kalabar? Was their breakup the cause of him turning evil? And when did Kalabar knock someone up to have a 15-year-old son in the next movie? And where is he in this movie? All that and more on this next episode of Maury. And I also always thought that if Disney were to bring this series back today, it should just be a prequel on how Kalabar came to be. But Kalabar is taken down by Marnie and family, which leads us into the next movie, Halloweentown II, Kalabar's Revenge. And this movie actually is pretty creepy for a kid. It takes place 2 years after the first one and just has this eerie feeling of someone watching you throughout the whole thing. Well, because someone is watching you. Kalabar's son, Cal. How original. Cal is an absolute creeper of a guy and a total psycho. Going on a rampage to avenge his father's demise, putting a gray spell on Halloweentown to turn it into this mundane place, while also turning the residents into these mundane, boring humans. With the caveat that he's also planning on turning all humans into creatures, which again, we will get to. But Marnie becomes smitten by Cal, only to realize that he's behind all of it, through a very specific flashback of receiving a rose from him that his father also did in the first movie when he saw Gwen. God, the rose thing, they must be related. But Marnie is trapped in Halloweentown while Cal is on a mission to change everyone at the school dance into the monster that they dressed up as, which is the most terrifying part of this entire series. I mean, look at some of the creatures here. A cyclops, fish monster, mushroom man, fly man, mad scientist, this guy, pumpkin head, and by far the scariest monster they've ever done in Halloweentown, Gwen's swamp monster. I gotta give it up to the makeup department on all these movies. They seriously do a killer job, but I just feel like this movie in particular, they went above and beyond. Like, this creature seriously gave me nightmares. Though I do also want to point out the dopiness of this guy watching the whole plot unfold gets me every time. But plot holes. Why didn't everyone change? What, no clown monsters or chicken monsters? In this guy, did he even change? I honestly can't even tell. But anyway, Marnie and family do it again, save the mortal world and Halloweentown. And they also managed to keep the portal to Halloweentown open year-round, so the residents of Halloweentown can roam free in the mortal world if they desire. Though with this new way of travel in place begins a whole new dilemma, which gets explored in, you guessed it, Halloweentown High. How do I put this? You can kind of tell Halloweentown High was made in a little bit of a transition period for Disney. It was a lot less dark in terms of plot, and the whole movie kind of felt a little too childish and quirky. I will say that I still enjoyed it though, because it does still focus around my favorite cast of characters. So this is the last movie where Aggie has any sort of major role, and Marnie for that matter. But Halloweentown High focuses on the acceptance between worlds. Since the portal is now always open, more creatures from Halloweentown want to experience the mortal world. Though obviously they can't go willy-nilly through to Earth, as there are a lot of cultural differences between the two worlds. So Marnie offers to mentor a group of students from Halloweentown in her own high school, kind of acting like a one-way foreign exchange student program. Though obviously things can't go smoothly in these movies, as they are being hunted down by the Knights of the Iron Dagger, which is like an anti-magic cult of sorts. But this is kind of where the plot falls apart for me. So they are being hunted down by the Knights of the Iron Dagger, but also not really at the same time. We do find out that the principal was a part of the cult, but really the person in charge of all the mayhem is one of the members of the Witches' Council, who also happens to be the father of one of the Halloweentown students. So like, where are the knights? I feel like they built this up so much, and I was so looking forward to a magic night showdown, which ultimately never happened. And while it seems like every Halloweentown movie has some sort of mob-like scene with people running around in terror, this one just kind of seems anticlimactic. Like we see the antagonist get burst through the portal all disheveled, but what actually happened to him? That is what I wanted to see. And pretty much right after that, everything is hunky-dory, with of course Marnie and family saving the day, which leads me to the final film in this series, Return to Halloweentown. Guys, please don't make me do this. I'm begging you. So while I couldn't find any stats on how well Halloweentown High did, I'm assuming maybe it wasn't the most well-received movie of the three, but they wanted to give it one final go. Guys, I'm the least familiar with this movie, so cut me some slack. But unfortunately, this one kind of dismisses what made the other ones so great. Kimberly J. Brown, who played Marnie in the first 3 movies, had been recast, and Aggie only had a minor cameo in the beginning. So KJB is recast. I scrolled through her TikTok to see if maybe she'd addressed it herself, but came up dry. But then I found this Q&A video she did 10 years ago where she talks about it.
Okay, a lot of you asked why I didn't do Halloweentown 4. And the answer to that is I'm not really sure. I was available and ready to do it, and had talked to them about possibly doing it, but Disney decided to go in a different direction and recast the role.
If you want to see that whole Q&A, I'll link it below. But yeah, she's really saying she knew it was happening and had some conversations about it, but ultimately Disney went in a different direction. I honestly remember being pretty upset when I found this out, and it really makes the 4th movie feel so detached from the other ones. Look, I'm not gonna say that Sarah Paxton did a bad job, but it just didn't feel like the Halloweentown that we've grown to love. And because you can really skip this movie, I will try to summarize it as fast as I can with the notes I have in my laptop.
Only attends Witch University, though there is no magic allowed here since the portal made it so the Halloweentown residents can now attend a mortal university named after Creed and Rich. That is
Brother Dylan. Thank God that's over with. I do think a college-age Marnie is just what we wanted to see, but having her be involved in some sort of convoluted storyline and having her attend a university where she's not supposed to be using magic, I think made this also miss the mark. And I know that everyone compares any magic movie to Harry Potter, and I'll do it again. I wanted to see tons of magic in this movie. I wanted to see moving staircases, talking paintings, floating candles. Instead, we kind of got a regular college in a magical world. And this guy.
Scram snuck away.
Are you okay?
She called you Snot Boy.
Oh, she just can never remember my name. It's kind of a hard one.
What is it?
The third.
They use him so much in the promotion of this movie, and he is not relevant to the plot at all. I mean, where was Luke, for crying out loud? And if it couldn't get any worse, I always shipped Marnie and Luke together, but she ends up with Ethan? What are you doing, Disney? Give me that fan service! But yeah, unfortunately the series ended on this low note, and I know I said earlier that if they were to make another Halloweentown movie, it should be a Kalabar prequel, but I could also get on board for a Halloweentown Disney Plus series, only if it stars Kimberly J. Brown again. But if there's one thing that Halloweentown has taught us, it's that Halloween isn't just one day a year. It's a state of mind. These movies taught us the supernatural can be goofy, heartwarming, and most of all, fun. They captured the spirit of Halloween in a bottle, and we've been sipping it every October since then. So whether you're a fan of the flying bus, the enchanting spells, or the irresistible charm of Marnie and her gang, one thing's for sure, Halloweentown will always hold a place in our hearts. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go dust off my talisman and go watch these movies for the 100th time. I mean, it's Halloween somewhere, right? Thanks for watching.